Okay, so let's settle in, settle down. The eyes lightly closed or with a soft downward gaze. Just taking these first few moments to become aware of how you are feeling this morning. Perhaps gazing down towards your heart and saying hello to your heart. Gazing down towards your body, saying hi to your body. And perhaps saying your name out loud a few times. So calling yourself to this present moment. What does your body have to tell you this morning? Does your body have a message for you? And if your heart could speak to you, what would it say? If you had to score your energy levels out of 10, 1 being virtually no energy and 10 being full of energy, what score would you give yourself? In our practice this morning, the intention is to focus on holding our energy, building our container, working with practices that enable us to connect with our inner strength, our courage, our brave heart, so that we can show up in the world in bigger and broader ways without shrinking or collapsing or being consumed with excessive panic or fear or worry or anxiety. Anais Nin famously wrote, "Life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage." So as well as perhaps enabling us to take big leaps of faith in the outer world, for example, quitting a job that does not resonate with our highest truth or values, or leaving a relationship that may be keeping us small, feeling constrained, or taking up a new exciting hobby that feels a little fear-provoking. I'm also interested in the type of courage we need to dive a little deeper into ourselves. We're not really taught or conditioned to do this type of work in our modern Western world. In fact, it's not really valued at all. And it can be very scary and confronting to take greater responsibility for our own internal world. I'd like to just begin by sharing a great passage with you by the psychotherapist Jim Palmer. Are you interested in a transformed life, a whole, liberated, meaningful, unitive, and fulfilled life? Of course you are. But it takes tremendous courage to get there. Courage to take full responsibility for your life, to no longer blame people or circumstances, or lay the responsibility and burden of your well-being upon others. Courage to look in the mirror and get real with yourself and own the ways you are the cause of your own disharmony and happiness, unhappiness. Courage to be vulnerable and honest about your life with one or two people you trust. Courage to put an end to magical thinking, quick fixes, stopgap measures, and symptom alleviation, and do the necessary personal work of addressing the root causes of your suffering. Courage to press deeper into the nature of reality than the way things appear on the surface. Courage to believe that you can be liberated from your suffering, unhappiness, and discontent in life. Courage to have conversations of significance with someone who is skilled at offering insight and guidance into matters of personal transformation and liberation. Courage to be resolute in cultivating self-care practices into your daily life. Courage to stop looking at yourself through eyes of judgment and condemnation, and offer yourself compassion, patience, forgiveness, acceptance, affirmation, and love. Courage to make your mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional health and well-being a top priority. Courage to let go of toxic beliefs, mindsets, attitudes, behaviors, people, and relationships that are obstacles to your well-being. Courage to learn new attitudes, skills, practices, excuse me, and tools for living life well. Courage to go inside yourself and explore the wounded parts of you that hide in the shadows. Courage to seek professional support or therapy for deeply rooted wounds, trauma, or destructive patterns you cannot manage or overcome on your own. Courage to make amends with the people you have hurt as a result of your woundedness and dysfunction. Courage to love yourself enough to slowly but determinedly cultivate and nurture a life of wholeness and happiness. So we're going to begin by chanting Sahana Vavatu 3 times, and then we're going to work with lots of practices to build and contain energy and help us to connect with our deepest, most courageous self. If you're lying down, you might like to come up now to sit, and you're welcome to join in with me or to just sit and listen. This chant honors the teacher and student within you, as well as the teacher and student within me. So just make sure that you're sitting with a nice tall spine. The eyes can be open or closed. Exhale all breath. And then breathing in. Om Sahana Vavatu. Sahana Bhunaktu. Saha Viryam Karavavahai. Tejasvi Navaditamastu. Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Sahana Bhavatu. Sahana Bhunaktu. Saha Viryam Karavavahai. Tejasvi Tejasvi Navaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai. Tejasvi Navaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You might like to gently fold forward, sighing the breath away. And then gently come up and just take a comfortable seat. So you might be sitting up onto some support. You might have the legs stretched out in front of you. You might be kneeling like I am or sitting cross-legged. And I invite you to just rest the hands over the belly. Just try to relax your shoulders, nice tall spine. And just take some quiet, deep breaths now, taking the breath right down into the belly. Make sure that the skin of the face stays relaxed. No tension in the mouth. You might turn the sides of the mouth up slightly. So breathing into the bottom lobes of the lungs, feeling the belly expand as you inhale. Might be quite significant. It might be very subtle, no force here. And as you exhale, you might like to exaggerate the exhalation and even use your fingertips to gently draw the belly button in towards your spine so that you're really emptying the breath from the lungs. So a long, smooth inhalation, filling that bowl in the belly, deep belly bowl breaths. And as you exhale, emptying that bowl of breath, drawing the belly button in towards your spine. Just a couple more breaths in this way. Good. And then just leave one hand over the solar plexus. Take the other hand to the lower back. We did this last week, those of you who joined me. So palm can be facing away or the palm might be pressing into your lower back. And I invite you just to start to rub quite vigorously. So this is a practice that can build up our energy, wake up our energy, help us feel a little bit more alive and alert, increase our vitality. Good, and then we're going to change our hand positions. Just rest the hands under your armpits and just start to rub up and down, sides of the lungs. Good, okay, and then release. Now we're going to have a go this morning at Vastrika Pranayam, our bellows breath. So a really fantastic breath to energize us, wake us up, very stimulating, quite heating, really good for all of our digestive organs. It's a pumping breath, so the bellows, like we're stoking our internal fire, Agni. There are quite a few contraindications. So any issues with the heart, high blood pressure, we need to be very careful. Menstruation, any stomach ulcers or hernia, also glaucoma, we need to be very careful. So if that's the case for you this morning, you might prefer just to work with that nice deep belly breath. So you can even rest the hands over the belly. So just slow, keep the breath slow. Otherwise, we're going to work with 3 rounds of between 10 to 20 breaths. So if you're quite new to this, you might just do 10 breaths per round. Those of you with more experience, you might do up to 20. And again, we can have the hands on the belly if we like, or just hands resting down. So it's a short, sharp in and out through the nose. Good to, I just blew my nose before. It's good to blow the nose before we work with this practice. Okay. In between rounds, if you feel a little dizzy or lightheaded or nauseous, it's an indication to stop. So just be mindful of that too. So let's exhale all breath to begin. And then you can begin to count your breaths. When you finish the round, just take a nice full breath in and let the breath go. And just take a moment to check in with yourself. And if you feel okay, we'll go on to round 2. So again, exhale all breath. And then you can start. When you finish, deep breath in and let the breath go. And then we'll go on to round 3. Otherwise, you're just working with nice, slow, deep belly breaths. Exhale all breath. Deep breath in and out. Good. And then just let the breath settle. No control. Just a few quiet breaths here. Relaxing the face, relaxing the shoulders, the mouth, the teeth, the tongue. Okay. And then bringing the hands to the lower abdomen. We also did this last week, those of you who joined. If not, just have a look and you can follow along. So you can either be touching the body or just have the hands slightly away from the body. And as we inhale, we're just going to draw the hands up through the center of the body, all the way up to the crown top. And as we exhale, just taking the hands down the sides of the head and all the way down into our lap again. So breathing in, the hands move up to the crown, a little pause. And as we exhale, hands slide down the sides and back to the lower abdomen. Good. So just work at your own pace. Inhale. Little pause. And exhale. I was actually reading some of Iyengar's the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali earlier this morning, and I came across something I'd never heard before, and it made me smile. Always does when I learn something new. Iyengar was talking about one particular sutra, and he said that the pause when we're breathing, so at the top of the inhale, that little pause can be understood as a shavasana for the lungs and the heart. So a little moment of rest for our lungs and our heart. Nice description. Let's do a few more. And just make this your last one. When you finish, rest a hand on the lower abdomen, a hand on the crown of your head, and just take a moment to notice what's going on inside, how you're feeling. Good. And gently release. Let's come into extended child. So big toes touching, your knees are at least hip width apart, your arms extending forward. Have a look at your hands. So the fingers are spread wide, the middle fingers are pointing straight ahead. Our ears are between our arms, and we're trying to sink our tailbone back towards our heels. So we get a lovely two-way stretch through our spine. Let's breathe deeply now into the lungs, filling and emptying the lungs. Good. And then coming up onto all fours, your wrists directly under your shoulders, your knees directly under your hips. Any issues with the wrist, you may like to make fists with the hands or try turning the fingers out to the side. We're going to work with some gentle rounds of cat, about 8 to 10 rounds. So let's all start together. As we inhale, we lift the tailbone, keep the face soft. And on the exhalation, rounding the back, push the back up towards the sky. Long, smooth inhalation. And long, smooth exhalation. Keep going at your own pace, linking the movement with your breath. Stay with your breath. Just tuning into how your back is feeling this morning. The different parts of your back. So just make this your last round of cat. And we're going to tuck our toes and move into down face dog pose. We're going to stay here. So you might like to bend one leg and then the other. Make sure your head is relaxed. If you've got a bit of sinus congestion or a bit headachy this morning, don't feel that you have to stay in dog. You might come down and just continue working with cat. You can always rest in child pose. So pace yourself this morning.
Listen to your body and the messages that your body are sending you throughout the practice. Now, this morning we're going to work a bit with the Bija mantra Ram. Bija means seed, seed mantra. These are very powerful, short little mantras that are connected to different parts of the body, different chakras. Ram is connected to Manipura chakra, which we're very much focusing on this morning. It's located in the solar plexus. So on your last exhalation in dog, or it might be in cat, I'm going to invite you to chant Ram as many times as you can as you're exhaling, just with one exhalation. Or you can just listen to me if you don't want to chant out loud. So I'm going to breathe in now. Ram, 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 Ram. Then we're going to come down onto our knees and exhale into extended child, and just pause there for a breath or two. So chanting Ram can really help us to connect with our inner strength. It's good when you're chanting to focus on the solar plexus area as well. All right, let's come up. And speaking of our solar plexus and our core, we'll do a little bit of core strengthening work. So the knees are together for this one. Very simple little movement. We're just going to see if we can lift the knees and just hover there. Draw the belly button in towards your spine so you feel strong through your core. You can stay here as little or as long as you like. When you've had enough, I'll just invite you to lower your knees, take a breath or two. We'll do this perhaps a couple more times. So again, when you're ready, just lifting the knees, hovering there. Keep the breath flowing, the face soft, belly button drawing in towards your spine. And lower. I also find when I work with this that I get an automatic Mula Bandha and a bit of Uddiyana Bandha. So these energy locks, just a reminder, also are helping us to contain energy. So we're not losing energy through the extremities of the body. We're drawing and building up our internal reservoirs of energy. Let's try one more. So Mula Bandha, just a little bit of a squeezing of the perineum, drawing everything up and inward. There's a sense of containment. And when you've had enough, release. And if you like, just release. Give the hands a shake, perhaps circle the wrists. Good. And then coming back onto all fours, take one leg back, doesn't matter which one. Tuck the toes under and let's hold a calf stretch. And then just raise that leg up into the sky and let's circle into that ankle. And reverse. And lower that knee down, take the other leg back, tuck the toes under. And hold. And take the leg up into the sky and circle. And reverse.
All right, now we can repeat that calf stretch, or some of you might like to come along with me and we'll work with plank. So a little bit of a upper body strength practice, but be very careful if there are any wrist or shoulder issues. So either the calf stretch, or we're going to take one leg back and then the other. So body's in a nice straight line, shoulders are over the wrists, fingers spread wide, opening the back of the knees. Keep the breath flowing. When you've had enough, I'll invite you, if you like, to slowly lower yourself down towards the floor. So coming through what we call Chaturanga Dandasana, if you can. It's quite a challenge. We'll see how we go. So you might tuck the elbows in. You might even hover off the floor for a second or two. And then we're all going to come to lie down on our mats, resting one hand on top of the other and our chin or our forehead on our hands. And just take a little rest there. You might like to swivel your hips a little bit from side to side. So we're going to, in a moment, work with a dancing cobra, dancing Bhujangasana. And we're going to invite you to call in the energy of Kali. Kali is a ferocious, very powerful Hindu goddess. And it's really good to call on her when we are needing to connect with our strength, our boldness, our fierceness, perhaps, our courage to speak our truth and handle the ebbs and flows and challenges of life. So I'm just going to read you a little description of what she is said to look like. So she's depicted as having 4 arms, with one holding a sword, another a severed head, which symbolizes the mask of ignorance and the bondage of ego. She has wild hair. Her skirt is made of severed arms, which are said to be woven from the karma and baggage of her devotees. She also has a big tongue hanging out to eat our karma and obstacles on the path to moksha, liberation. And she's bare-breasted, indicating the nakedness of her soul and her direct access to the divine. In the book, You Are Goddess, the author writes that Kali was created as a fierce, uncompromising powerhouse of supreme feminine consciousness. She confronts fear-based illusions and sternly upholds the spiritual feminine life force. She terrifies those who don't understand her. Yet her true spiritual significance is that she holds the ability to free all who squarely face her from their fears and ego-bound attachments. So let's bring the hands alongside our chest now and bring the forehead down. The feet are at least hip width apart. And in a moment, we're going to lift up into just a low cobra to begin. We'll do 7 of these. So you might be a little bit higher each time you lift and then lower. And I'll invite you to add a hissing sound as we're lowering down. You might like to imagine that you are Kali, we're drawing on her and really allowing that hissing sound to be really fierce, really ferocious, pretty wild. All right, the elbows are tucked in. Exhale all breath. Breathing in as we slowly come up. Inhale up. Five more. And last one. Perhaps saying to yourself now, Kali Ma, be with us, set us free. Kali Ma, be with us, set us free. Now inhale, lifting up into Cobra, but this time we're going to bend the legs and come back into extended child. Breathe down into your lower back. Now, if you've had enough back bending at this point, you can stay here. Otherwise, look along your mat. And as we inhale, we're coming along the mat into Cobra again, elbows squeeze in and back into child. So we'll just do a few more of these. Inhaling and exhaling. Kali Ma, be with us, set us free. Good. And then just pausing in child, you might make fists with the hands, a breath or two here. Okay. Now choosing either to work with a flowing sequence from extended child into cat and then dog, back into cat and back into child, or you can come along with me for a slightly stronger flowing sequence. We're going to start in dog, move into plank, back into dog. So either the gentler option or coming along with me, coming up, tuck your toes, moving into dog. From here, we bend the legs, shins parallel to the floor. We come forward into plank and back into dog. So bend the legs, forward into plank and back into dog. Bend the legs, come forward and back. Let's do two more. And then you can pause in dog or just have a little rest in child, and then we're going to reverse directions. So from dog, we come straight forward into plank, bend the legs and back into dog. So 4 more of these. Into plank, bend the legs, into dog. And last one. From here, we're going to look towards our hands and step the left leg forward. So if you're doing the gentler flowing sequence, just come into this position now. We're going to come up to stand. Now we're on the ball of the right foot, the back foot. Make sure that your feet are at least hip width apart so that your hips can be facing forward. We're straightening the front leg. So this is a variation of warrior one. So we're going to take the arms up. And as we exhale, we're bending the left leg. One arm swings forward, the other arm back. So arms are circling in opposite directions. Now you can keep this really slow as I'm doing, or you can speed it up. Connecting with your inner brave warrior. From here, just release the hands down, step the right leg forward, and we'll swap the legs over. So we're on the ball of the left foot, hips are square, Front leg is straight, arms are up. And this time, as we bend the right leg, the arms are swinging in opposite directions. Good, I might do one more. And then release your arms down and just step that left foot to meet the right. Coming into Tadasana, your feet are hip width. And you might sigh the breath away. Okay. As we breathe in now, let's bring the arms forward and up. And we're blowing the breath out through the mouth. In through the nose. And out through the mouth. Good. Find a rhythm with your breath. Linking movement and breath. Finish the one you're on and work with one more. Good. And bring the hands onto your hips, lengthening up through the crown top, feet just a little closer together. This is one of Thich Nhat Hanh's mindful movements. It's a balance, so we need to keep our gaze steady on something in front of us that's not moving as we inhale and lift the right leg up. Try to relax your shoulders, and as we exhale, we see if we can straighten that leg, bending it in and lower. Left leg lifts and we straighten, bend it in and lower. Let's do two more to each side. Last one. Good. Release your hands, take a breath. And we're going to do another balance now. So be near a chair or a wall. If you're feeling a little bit wobbly this morning, that's fine. We're going to shift the weight into the left foot and pick up the right. And we're going to see if we can hold on to our knee. Now we're trying to avoid this happening. So we're going to try and keep that spine upright, shoulders back, heart lifting, imagining there's an invisible cord connected to the crown of the head, lifting us up towards the heavens. So you might have a hand on a wall or a table. We can stay here. Those of you who want to go a little bit further and are able to, we hold on to our big toe. The left hand goes to the left hip, and then we see if we can work to straighten this leg. Otherwise, just keep holding the knee. And then from here, we can add a twist, a little bit of a challenge. So you can either do this with the leg bent or we swap the hands over. So we take the left hand to the outer edge of the right foot, and then we take the right arm behind. And if we're feeling really steady, we might try to turn to look back towards that right thumb. So you can still do this with the bent leg and breathe. Keep lengthening up through the crown top. And then come back to center. Release the right leg down. Let's try the other side. So hugging the left knee in, draw the shoulders back, standing tall, breath flowing. So either keeping a hold of the knee or reaching down to your big toe, making a loop with your fingers, right hand on the right hip as we work to straighten that left leg. And perhaps swapping the hands over, taking the left arm back behind us. And if we're feeling steady, turning to look back towards our left thumb. And breathe. And come back to center and release. Good. Into Tadasana, hands on the solar plexus. We're going to work with 5 Rams. Breathing in. Ra. So you can draw the belly button back towards your spine. So 4 more. Inhale, nice deep breath into the belly. Ra. 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 Release the hands, step to the backs of your mats. Take a moment. And then I invite you to imagine that you are facing in front of you something that scares you, something which feels perhaps a bit challenging. It might be a little fear, it might be a very big fear. And let's draw on again the energy of Kali to have the courage, the strength to face what scares us as we walk towards it. So it's a very slow walk, heel to toe, standing tall with great dignity, a warrior strength as you walk towards this thing that scares you, that's very confronting. Keep your gaze very steady, very clear. Soften the shoulders so we're not hard, we're not gripping the body, we're relaxed, but we're alert. When you get to the top, you're turning around and walking back. When you get to the back, you turn back around. Now, Kali holds a sword. So we're going to imagine now that we're holding 2 swords. And in a moment, we're going to walk again towards an obstacle or a challenge or something that there's a lot of fear around. And we're going to imagine cutting through our own fear around that particular thing. And if you'd like to join with me, make a loud ha sound as we're cutting. Okay, so we don't have to walk quite as slowly. So just breathe in. Ha, 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 ha. And turn around and we do the same coming back. Ha, forward. You can release your swords and just have a little bit of a shake. Just observe what's going on inside, how you're feeling, what that brings up for you. Good. So going to work now with a couple more warriors to connect with our inner warrior. So we're going to take a giant step forward with the right leg. Your left toes are facing forward. So just as before, as we're working with our flowing warrior one, hips are facing forward. So coming into Virabhadrasana 1. Let's inhale, raise the arms up. And as we exhale, we're bending that right leg. Just looking forward this morning. If you've got the opening in the shoulders, you might bring your palms together and cross your thumbs, and you might look up if that's okay for your neck and you don't have high blood pressure. Otherwise, just keep the arms shoulder width apart. Keep pressing back into the outer edge of the left foot. Breathe into your heart. Feeling your strength, your determination, your perseverance with things that are challenging. And then we'll chant Ram again on our last exhale. So a deep breath in. Ra. Inhale, straighten the right leg, release your arms and step that right leg back. Let's do the same to the other side. So left leg forward, hips are square. Inhale, raise the arms and bend the left leg. So you might be pressing the palms together, opposite thumb on top if you're doing so. Pushing back into the outer edge of the right foot. Nice deep breaths, warrior breaths. And then a deep breath in. Ra. Inhale, straighten the left leg, release your arms. Step the left leg back. All right, let's turn sideways now on our mat. Take the legs wide, turn the left toes around for Virabhadrasana 2. So we'll inhale, raise the arms to shoulder height, turn to the left, and we're bending the left leg. You can always rest the back hand on your hip if that's better for your shoulders. Otherwise, the arms are in a straight line. You can have a check. And then we're gazing along that left middle finger, softening the shoulders. Pushing back into the outer edge of the right foot. The breath is flowing. Good. And from here, we're going to move into an extended triangle. So breathe in. And as you bring out, bring your left forearm to your thigh, lift the right arm up, might stay here, or we turn the arm and extend the arm over our head, either looking forward or looking up underneath that left armpit. Good, bring the head to center. Inhale, come up. And exhale. Let's turn the legs around. Breathing in. Turning to the right and bending the right leg. So again, option to rest the back hand on your hip. Otherwise, the arms are in a straight line. We're gazing along that right middle finger, softening the shoulders. Breath is flowing. Good. Moving into our extended triangle. Breathe in. And forearm to thigh. Left arm up. And perhaps over the head. Good. Bring the head to center. Inhale, come up. And exhale. Let's step the feet together and you might shake it out. So one more standing pose before we come down to our mats. It's another balance. So we're going to start off with focus pose, very similar to what we did before. So we start off in Tadasana, shift the weight into the left foot, and then we're picking up the right. This time we're not holding the knee. Hands are on either side, palms facing each other. Or again, you might have a hand on a wall or a chair for a bit of extra support. Lengthening up through the crown top as though there's an invisible cord connected to the crown. Perhaps sides of the mouth turned up slightly. Again, standing tall with great dignity and power and strength, courage. So either staying here or now we're going to transition into a variation of Virabhadrasana 3. So if you're coming along with me, we start to take that right leg back and the arms also. As we lean the body forward, we flex the right foot. And then we slowly come back through focus pose. And release straight onto the other side. A little smile on your lips. You might choose to stay in focus pose, or now we start to slowly lean forward, taking that left leg back. Foot is flexed. And slowly coming back. And release. Coming to sit down. Keep the legs bent. You can bring the arms forward and just fold the head forward. Taking a moment to check inwardly with yourself. Okay, so one more little Kali practice, invoking the energy of Kali. We're going to have a go at lion. So Kali has that big tongue hanging out. We're also going to extend our tongue in a moment and imagine that we're letting go of any frustrations, any disappointments, any bitterness, if you like, letting go a bit of the ego, stubbornness, or pride even. So we'll try 3 of these. Traditionally, we sit like this with the big toes touching, but if you need to sit a different way or even in a chair, that's fine too. Hands come down. So we're going to look up towards our third eye as we extend the tongue. So breathing in. Again, let the sound come from the belly. Last one. Good. Give the hands a shake. Come back onto the buttocks, legs forward, arms forward, and rest. Now, if you've pretty much had enough at this point, it's been a pretty strong practice. Just stay as you are. Otherwise, we're going to do one round of Navasana boat. So the feet together, we're holding onto our lower legs, drawing ourselves up nice and tall. And then when you're ready, leaning back and lifting the legs up. So you can keep a hold of the lower legs, or you might like to release the arms and just have the palms facing each other. You might like to straighten the legs, gazing towards your big toes. And when you've had enough, we're all going to just slide the legs along the mat. Inhale, raise the arms up, look up. And exhale, come forward. So if you can allow the exhalations now to lengthen as we start to let everything slow down. Let's inhale, slowly take the arms up, palms together, and bring the hands down to your heart. From here, we'll work with just a little twisting movement, Buno Manasana, greeting the earth. So we turn to one side and we lean down as far as we can. And then we come up, we swing around to the other side and we lean down. So you can keep this slow as I'm doing, or you can speed it up. Go just a couple more to each side. And release. You might give the legs a little bit of a rub. Knees, thank you knees. Hips, thank you hips. And then we're going to lie down for Shavasana. Have what you need to be comfortable, to be supported. As I come up closer to you again. I just slow the out breath down by sighing it away, perhaps even making an audible sighing sound. And I'd like to begin our relaxation time by sharing with you one of my favorite passages from the Buddhist nun Pema Chodron. Some of you will have heard this before. It is a favorite, and it's a good reminder every now and then to come back to. She says, sooner or later, we're going to have an experience we can't control. The essence of life is that it's challenging. Sometimes it is sweet, sometimes it is bitter. Sometimes your body tenses and sometimes it relaxes or opens. From an awakened perspective, trying to tie up all the loose ends and finally get it together is death, because it involves rejecting a lot of your basic experience. There's something aggressive about that approach to life, trying to flatten out all the rough spots and imperfections into a nice, smooth ride. To be fully alive, fully human, and completely awake is to be continually thrown out of the net. To live fully is to be always in a no man's land, to experience each moment as completely new and fresh. To live is to be willing to die over and over again. From the awakened point of view, that's life. Death is wanting to hold on to what you have and to have every experience confirm you and congratulate you and make you feel completely together. So now we find ourselves in Shavasana, where the aim is to completely give in and let go. Lengthening the outward breath. Allowing the breath to slow down. And giving up all effort, all trying. Surrendering your whole self into the earth. Allowing the whole body to feel heavy and warm. Giving in and letting go deeply and completely. Feel free to remain lying there if you're happy and you have the time. Otherwise, I invite you to perhaps say your name again a few times. Calling yourself to the present moment. Becoming aware once more of your surroundings, where you are. Perhaps noticing sounds, feeling the temperature of the air on your face. And bringing some movement into your fingers and toes. You might like to have a bit of a stretch. And then rolling over to one side and just curl up into a little ball, hug your knees in. And I'll share a final passage with you from another favourite, from Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who wrote Women Who Run with the Wolves. Do not lose heart. We were made for these times. One of the most calming and powerful actions you can do to intervene in a stormy world is to stand up and show your soul. A soul on deck shines like gold in dark times. The light of the soul throws sparks, can send up flares, builds signal fires, causes proper matters to catch fire. To display the lantern of the soul in shadowy times like these, to be fierce and to show mercy towards others, both are acts of immense bravery and greatest necessity. Struggling souls catch light from other souls who are fully lit and willing to show it. If you would help to calm the tumult, this is one of the strongest things you can do. So if you'd like to now, we'll come up to sit and close with one beautiful Kali Om. Bring the hands together at the heart. Exhale all breath. Breathing in. Oh. Namaste. Thank you for joining with me this morning. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Bye.
Thank you, Fiona. Lovely lesson.
Great. Thanks, Helen.
Thanks, Fiona.
Bye, Rosemary. See you next week.
Next week.
Thanks, Fiona.
Thank you. And if whoever's Samsung Galaxy S7, if you can just text me or email me, let me know, that'd be great.
Thank you, Fiona.
Thank you.
Louise.
Oh, it's Kathy. That's you, Kathy Davis.
Kathy, Fiona, it's Louise under Danny.
I knew that. Yeah, thanks,
Thank
Louise.
you. Sorry about
Thanks,
that. I had
Louise.
to use a different computer.
No, it's fine. I know Danny's your partner. That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
Joy.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.